Recently, I heard about Cards and Pockets now offering these custom printed pockets, so I wanted to film a video where I show you how I would design something like this and order it with them because it can be a little tricky, but it's not super difficult. You just need to know a couple of things as you are designing these. So you can see some examples here. They have all over patterns. They have these panel pockets. They even have some that are laser cut, which is kind of a next level step. We're just going to focus on the printing for now. But they have the pockets that open as well as just your panel pocket here. So today we're going to design a signature A7 pocket fold, and I'll show you a few things to consider as you're designing it and how you'd order it on their website. Cards and Pockets has also agreed to give you a 15% one-time coupon code for printed pockets. The coupon code is Laney Printed Pockets. I'll put it in the description in case you need to come back to it as well. So if you want to try this out, I have like 5 million ideas even after just designing one fun pocket for this video. So there's so many things that you can do here, and I'm really, really excited about it. So when you go to their site and you get to this page, you'll see there are two main options, which is the A7 signature pocket card and then the A7 panel pocket. We're going to do the A7 signature pocket card, and you can download the template here, which I'll show you in just a second. I'm also going to use this image while I'm designing to reference the different placements because I think it's a little easier than just looking at the template sometimes. This is one of those things where your brain can really trip you up because of all the folds and creases. As you can see in this image, you can print on colored paper, any of the colored paper that Cards and Pockets offers. You can do white ink printing as well as CMYK ink printing. So let's see an example of that. And I am actually really impressed with how well, for instance, this printed on the sorbet yellow paper. So keep in mind how your colors might print if you're printing on a colored paper. You might have better luck with a single solid color design, or if you're printing on a dark color, you definitely want to print in white ink. You can always message them if you have questions about what's going to show up, but just kind of keep that in mind as you're designing. And as you can see here, all of the different parts of the pocket can be printed, as well as these parts that actually aren't printed. So there's just about 1 million possibilities. So let's dive in. Now I opened up their template here in Adobe Illustrator where I design, and you'll see a few things here. So we have our blue line is the outline of the die cut shape. The red line is the bleed. If you're not sure what bleeds are, I have another video on it I'll link for you, but basically your design needs to extend about 1/8 of an inch off the page. And then they have their safety margin. So anything that's really important to your design needs to fall within that green line, because anything outside of it could potentially shift and get cut off when they're die cutting. Anything that's gray is not going to show. So we have the inside of the pocket not shown when folded, and then these little tabs. They mentioned that you don't want your design to print all the way to the edge of the tab because the glue doesn't stick very well to ink. So if you do have a design that extends there, they'll have to edit it for you. So I would just recommend extending to that bleed line and no further. Everything is really clearly labeled here, but for my brain, I really like to rotate this particular one 180 degrees because it just makes more sense in my brain. So this section here is going to be the outside of the pocket, what you'll see when the pocket is closed, and then everything here is the inside. So if we look at, for instance, this particular image, what we're seeing here is the inside flap is this one right here. The inside panel is typically where you paste the invitation, and this is the inside panel where the response cards go. The only thing that's different is the outside of the pocket is on this outside section because it's going to fold up. And then the inside of the pocket, you're not actually going to see. So that's what's behind this pocket right here. Now over here I have some elements that I'm going to be using. I have a pattern that I created with these elements as well as some individual elements, and then a couple other pieces that I might be interested in using, like this scallop border and these watercolor stripe options. So I could print this on just a white pocket background, but I think I'm going to print it on a vellum white one, which is kind of a peachy pinkish color, and you'll see it plays nicely with the orange and the pink tones in this particular piece. Now you can't print something on a really dark piece of paper with a lot of color in it. So if you do a really dark piece, you might want to do white ink printing only. If you want to print in CMYK with a lot of color, just make sure you're sticking to the lighter colors. White is always going to be the safest, and you'll get a little bit of muting in the tone of this color. So all of these pieces will become a little bit more of that pink peachy tone. If you printed it on green, all of the stuff that would print would become a little bit more green, a little bit more blue, etc. That's something that's tripped me up in the past when printing on colored paper. So you can always order a sample if you're not sure what it's going to look like printing these colors on this particular color of pocket. So before I like to design, I just like to put all of my artwork on its own layer that's separate from the template layers. So I'll just cut all of this, add a new layer on top called artwork, and then paste it all back in. I think for the outside of the pocket, we want to do something like this one or this one and just use a solid kind of print of that pattern. Since I'm going to print on that vellum white pocket, I'm actually going to change the color of the background to vellum white. This means that I can just design on the main layers, and then when I delete all of the template layers to print, that will automatically delete. So I'm going to change this. And also this one. And also this one. That just reminds me that no matter what, the background is going to be that vellum white color. Of course, this inside is not going to be shown, but I'll remember that. So now I can use the pattern to basically cover that full front section. Now, if I wanted this to also be on the pocket, I could extend it further down here. However, I don't. So I actually only want to extend this pocket to the edge. Of the pocket. There we go. Extend this out here. I'm going to use the add anchor point tool and add 2 little anchor points here just so I can extend this design. So there's a bleed on the bottom of the panels, but not actually on the pocket itself. The rest of my design is extending to that bleed line. Perfect. And if you're thinking this pattern looks super weird, that's because we changed it. But if we just re-click on the pattern swatch, it will readjust. So now the outside is pretty much done. It's just going to print with this all over pattern. We've made sure the bleeds extend past those red lines, and we are good to go there. Now inside, I considered a few different things when designing this. Let me show you a couple of different options. So for one, I thought it'd be really cute to put these subtle kind of watercolor stripes on the background of the inside. I thought that'd be really nice. Then when I decided to print on the vellum white pocket, I thought that that coloring might not work very well, but it's definitely something that you could do. You could try it out even on vellum white, or if you were printing on a different color, it might be a really nice option to add something kind of subtle. Remember that all of your cards are going to go in this inside section, so you don't want to necessarily add something too crazy, or you want to at least just pay attention to what your cards are going to look like. Even with this strong of a pattern, I'm probably going to keep my cards really, really simple here. So I don't think a simple background like this would make too much of a difference, would make it too overwhelming, but I just decided not to do that in this particular case. Another fun idea I had was to put this scalloped border here on the inside, and then for instance, you could put your card a little bit smaller and it would have kind of a frame right there. You could also do something like taking all the leaves and creating kind of a frame around the edges so that when your card is pasted in there, you see that frame around the edges. I'm going to decide not to do that again in this particular one, but just another idea of something that you can do. So what I did really think would be fun is to have florals kind of coming out of the pocket. So you can probably see them a little bit depending on which details cards you put in here, but also after you take those out, we can have some florals kind of extending from the pocket itself. So let me show you how I did that. First of all, they have this pocket only template, so I'm actually just going to copy that and use it right here just to indicate where that pocket is going to be so I can make the florals come out of it. I put together this little arrangement of a couple of the different florals that I thought was kind of nice and gave that like upward motion to it. And I'm going to put that close to the edge. Now I can put this pocket on top and see what that would kind of look like. We could even draw out the shapes of our cards if I was actually designing the inside cards with this. You know, we're going to put those in there and see exactly what it looks like. So I think that's really pretty, and it plays off of the pattern without just being a full pattern inside outside, which is absolutely lovely, but can get a little bit one-dimensional if you have too much of it. And then I wanted to put like a little monogram on the pocket, so I could design that on this pocket only section if I want, but I'm also going to show you how to design it over here just so you can keep some things in mind. So I have this little element with kind of some greenery in a roundish shape, and I have their monogram. I'm just using my old initials right here, and this is my new font called Betty if you want to check it out. It's very cute. So I'll just copy and paste this element and reflect it one time to make a full laurel. Then I'll put my monogram kind of where I want in the middle. Group all of this together. So your instinct might just be to place it right here. And if you're designing in that kind of pocket only section, you can just put it right there. And it can be helpful to put it in both places too, just so when you send your files, they know exactly what you're looking for. But if you are going to put it here on this file, then just remember that you need to rotate it 180 degrees because this flap is going to be flipped up from where it's printed. So if it prints like this, then your monogram is going to show up backwards. So we will reverse rotate that 180 degrees. And something that might be helpful for centering, since this is a weird shape, is just to draw out a ruler and place it right in the crease or the bottom cut of that pocket, and just make sure you center that piece accordingly. Okay, beautiful. And then the last thing is I probably just want to take one of these simple little elements and put it on the inside of the flap because I just think that that's kind of fun. And that'll show up right here just as another little floral and another way to customize this pocket. So we're going to have the outside full pattern, the inside. So we'll have the outside as a full pattern. It's going to be printed on a vellum white piece of paper, so that anything that's not printed will be that vellum white color. Inside, right behind these cards, behind the pocket, we're going to have these flowers kind of bursting out. We'll have this simple flower over on the left flap. And then on the flap of the pocket itself, we will have the monogram facing upwards. And I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm actually going to order these and unbox them at the end, so we're going to see them in real life. So let's talk about how to save these files and get them ready for print with cards and pockets. First of all, I'm just going to delete kind of everything that I don't need. And then one thing we should definitely delete is any templates or guides that we've created. So I created this one. I'm going to make sure to delete that because we don't want it to accidentally print on our file. And then you can actually turn off and delete a lot of the different layers, or you can leave them as they are and they can delete them for you. What I'm typically going to do is get rid of those panel labels so that I can see how everything is going to look, but I'll leave the dimensions and scores and everything else. So beautiful. This file looks awesome. I'm really, really excited to see these go to print. And the last thing we should do before saving the files for print is clear out this vellum white color from the different pockets. Since it's on the bleed layer, they might delete it, but it's always a good idea just to not leave anything up to chance and delete that. And when we select vellum white as the color of the pocket, they'll know to do that. So we're going to save the inside and the outside as two separate files. Just make sure you get those correct because they can tell a little bit if you mix them up. But if you have a full all over pattern or something, it might not be as obvious if you've mixed them up. So we'll save artboard 1 as our inside. So save it as a PDF. PDF, artboard 1. And you can leave Illustrator default. You don't need marks or bleeds or anything because that's all included in the template. And then we'll do the same for artboard 2 as the outside. Now we're on the website, we'll click Shop Printed Signature and we can select all of our options. So choosing our paper color, you can see there's so many beautiful colors here. We'll do vellum white. And then if you want to reprint something from a previous order, you can just put the order number in here. So if you order a sample, for instance, then you can order the rest of them really easily. Now uploading the front of the pocket, that will be the outside. This file will be the inside. You have to confirm you've read the printing setup guide. You should read it if you're new to printing. And then we are doing double-sided printing because we uploaded the inside file, so we do need to select yes, add double-sided printing here. And as you can see, the cost here is $3.15 per pocket, which honestly is pretty good for a custom printed pocket on colored paper with printing on both sides, etc. And I love that the pricing is pretty much the same, even if you do a really low quantity. So if you don't need a ton of them, or if you just want to order a few samples, you can do that, and the price is not going to be astronomically high. And again, you can use Laney printed pockets to get 15% off your first printed pocket order. If you're not a designer and you need them to give you any special help or anything, you can add the proof. It's $14, which is honestly worth it if you're going to be spending a lot of money on these or doing them for your wedding, to just get a little bit of help with the setup and making sure you're doing it correctly. If you're ready to go, you can just add those to cart and go ahead and order. If you have an account with Cards and Pockets, you'll see that you get your vendor discount, so they are even a little bit cheaper, and your 15% one time can stack on top of that as well. So I have these babies in my cart and I'm gonna go check out, and then I'll add the unboxing at the end of this video. I'm so excited about this and hope it's sparking just a million ideas, because I feel like there's so many different ways that you can design these really, really amazing pockets to help wedding invitations, social stationery, whatever it is that you want to create, really stand out and wow the recipients. Okay, I got my custom pockets. Let's see what they look like. I am so excited to see these. This is just such a cool new product. Are you serious? Okay, look how cute these turned out. Oh my gosh, they look so good. Okay, we got the monogram here on the pocket. We have our little flowers sticking out there and our pattern on the outside. This is so cute. Something to consider in the future when you're doing a pattern like this would just be to pay attention to how it comes together. Like if you want this side to come together in a certain place with this, I still think these are so, so cute, but that's just a consideration that you might want to take account in the future. And our little piece here. This is so great. So we'd put our invitation right here, and then all of our insert cards would go in here, and they might cover this so you see it as a big reveal, or they might show like a little part of it. But how freaking cute is this? Okay, this was such a fun process. I'm literally obsessed with these. If you want to use my code, you can get 15% off your first pocket order. So definitely check these out. I'm like giddy. I'm smiling so hard. These are so freaking cute. Let me know if you're going to check this out, or if you have any questions about ordering these custom pockets. I've said it a million times. I'm so obsessed with these. They're adorable. I see a million possibilities about kind of framing the invitation, doing the inside here, doing cool stuff on the pockets, and of course the outside. Basically, your options are completely limitless. So check these out. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see what you create with these. These came out so cute. I love this.